welcome to another exciting Read Aloud from Miss Disney. I am your lovely host, Miss Disney, and we are going to be continuing a Twisted Tale anthology. And in this story, we are going to be reading Call It a Hunch. What if Hercules' first day as a god didn't go as planned? By Calonita. Well, Hercules leaned in closer. What do you think? Meg looked over her shoulder at the azure sky that surrounded the cushiony cloud they were seated on. As if for effect, an eagle swooped past them, whistling a high-pitched call miles above land. She gave Wonder Boy a look. I'll tell you one thing. No one has ever taken me on a date like this. Hercules' face lit up. A silver tray floated past him, and he plucked a grape off it and fed it to her. That's a good thing, right? Aphrodite, I thought this would be a romantic way to celebrate our new jobs. You're the one with a job, Meg reminded him, as she took another piece of the best cheese she'd ever had in her life. Mine is more like a hobby, a new hobby. Don't sell yourself short, Hercules insisted. This is going to turn into something big for you. I can feel it. No one is better suited for solving crimes. Meg cocked her head to one side. Her fiery red ponytail swayed in the light breeze. If you consider the scheming I did for Hades' crime work, then maybe. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is one small gig, a gig that would barely pay the rent. But she couldn't be choosy. There wasn't a large market for women who'd recently been freed from the underworld, and she needed to make money. She was still surprised Darius, the wealthy businessman who owned several shops in the Agora, had agreed to her fee for tracking down his missing Athena statue. It had disappeared from a fountain in front of the marketplace on the east side of town 2 days before, and business had plummeted. No one, not even the authorities, liked to touch crimes that involved the gods. Too risky, too unpredictable. But Meg had always liked a challenge. Hercules' blue eyes sparkled. All you need is one gig to get started. Meg shook her head. That's what I love about you, Wonder Boy. You're the eternal optimist. She touched his chiseled chin. It's why you will make the perfect god of heroes. Hercules blushed. It still feels funny hearing you use my new honor. Well, get used to it. There's no one better to advise someone in their hero's journey. Your father picked a good role for you. You're going to make a heck of a god. You think so? His blue eyes were pensive. I really want to make my parents proud. I don't want them to think they made a mistake giving me a big title. When Hercules had renounced his godliness to stay on earth to be with her, she was sure Zeus would rain thunderbolts down from the heavens. Instead, Zeus had taken the news quite well. Turned out the god was a romantic. He insisted Hercules remain a god. You earned it, he boomed. After Zeus talked to his wife Hera, the two agreed their son could have dual residency on Mount Olympus and on Earth so he could be with Meg. Wonder Boy had been beside himself, and it was his first day of training, which was why Meg had brought him a good luck present. And if you need reminding that this is the role you were born for, just look at this. Meg reached into the satchel she'd brought with her when Pegasus picked her up that morning at an unearthly hour. Did God sleep? Probably not much. She'd have to get used to dating one. Out came the small parcel she'd carefully wrapped for him. Hercules' eyes lit up. You got me a present? He unwrapped it with one tear from his gargantuan hands. A coin was nestled inside the paper. He held it up in the early morning light that Helios provided. Hey, is there a tiny bow and arrow etched on this coin? Meg smiled. Yes, it's to remind you that your aim is true, and to always trust your instincts, she said softly. They've never steered you wrong before, including about her. Even when she'd been conflicted, he'd seen the trueness of her heart. She'd saved him, then he'd saved her. and now they were ready to start something new together. Hercules leaned in and kissed her softly. I love it. It's the perfect present. He tucked it into a slot in his leather belt. I have a gift for your first day, too. He snapped his fingers, and a small gold pin appeared in the palm of her hand. Meg stared at a tiny crown of olive leaves. It's beautiful, she murmured. She couldn't remember the last time she received a gift, let alone one from someone she loved. It certainly hadn't happened in the underworld. Thanks, Wonder Boy. She pinned the delicate crown to her purple gown, right above her breastbone. It's for luck, he said. Not that you need it. I don't know about that. Meg didn't want to admit she was nervous, but this was the first real work she had since she'd left Hades. And she wanted it to go well. Not only did she want it to lead to more folks hiring her to solve God problems no one else would, but she wanted to be able to afford dinner that night. She couldn't have every meal catered to her on a cloud. I don't have a clue what I'm doing. Yes, you do, Hercules insisted. Just do like you told me. Trust your instincts. They won't let you down. He skimmed her nose with his. They led you to me, didn't they? Yes, they did. She leaned in for another kiss. They didn't come up for air till she heard the tinkling of bells. Hello there, lovebirds, Hermes said, the little blue god-winged helmet helping him flutter in front of their cloud. Hercules, your father wants you to report for god training at once. The early bird gets the worm, so to speak. And Zeus has a long list of birds for you already. Hercules and Meg stared at each other, their noses still touching even though their lips had parted. Your father is right about the worm thing, Meg murmured. I should go too. I want to talk to Darius before the marketplace opens for the day. Pegasus will give you a lift down, Hercules said, and then he can bring you back here afterward, and we can have dinner. Talk about our day. A man who wants to see me twice in one day? Who are you? She joked, and he kissed her again. Good luck, Meg. Knock them dead. Just not literally, Herc said before he faded away in front of her eyes. Hermes, however, was still there, watching her through his spectacles, which had fogged up in the early morning dew. There was something about the little blue devil's mischievous smile that gave her pause. Yes, she asked. Nothing. His winged helmet fluttered faster. Just wanted to wish you a great first day at your new job. Meg stared. These gods knew everything, but before she could reply, Hermes was gone, and Pegasus was already flying into her line of vision, ready to whisk her back down to the city of Thebes far below.